Hi, I'm coming to speak to you. This is about Laia Collins, the football player. That is a person of interest to me, which is synonym equivalent for suspect. Um, in a murder of Brittany Mills in the Baton Rouge region. And if you look at my previous video titled Crazy Fights, it's a week before that, a girl with a similar name. And watching the Tommy Sotomayor video, some kind of, I guess it was recommend to watch or something like that. So a girl with the exact same name, she had a similar Brittany name, but her last name was Mills. And she was 5 months pregnant, and she was in the Shreveport region, and she stabbed Gabrielle Cooper, that resulted in a death. And Gabrielle Cooper was a girl that was had 3 children at the age of 21 years old, and I don't know why the world would they put a club photo for her death. Okay, you didn't have no photo of her and her children together, a photo of her at work, a photo of her volunteering, a photo of her just in a neutral photographic art setting. They didn't have it. They had a club photo. So let's move on to about Laia Collins. So the next week later, Brittany Mills in the Baton Rouge area. She was 8 months pregnant. So both of these Brittany's are pregnant. So one happened 1 week of April, about the second week of April. She was 5 months, and then the next week another Brittany Mills. She's 10 years old, and it's one's 19, the other one's 29. And this one that's 29 is 8 months pregnant, and she was shot in the chest. The baby survived for a short amount of time. The baby ended up dying afterwards, from what it has not been revealed. This is very odd, because I remember seeing in the write-ups, it was saying that somebody asked to use her car, she opened the door, and it killed her. I don't play that. You better make an appointment with me. I don't play that. You better, unless it's somebody that, you know what I'm saying, I really know it. No, I don't do that. I ain't open no door unless, like I say, I will call 911, or maybe, like I say, if it's somebody I know. And I understand sometimes you be knocking on the door and you just really need some help and stuff like that. So that's just going to be a ram rushing. But I'm coming in caution, matter of fact. Because you can't trust, you can't trust. People got all kind of game they'll use as a way to rob you and shit like that. You trying to take your kindness as though they had an emergency need. Ain't no telling how the situation happened, but as I also said, for the fact that she was pregnant, they killed her in the chest. I know they did more than one bullet, but they didn't hit the stomach, as far as I know. And from what I've read, but the baby did survive. They got the baby out and survived. I'm sure it took about an hour. I mean, by the time it was reported, by the time she got killed, it was reported, and the time it took the ambulance to come out there, and the time to take the child to the hospital, I'm sure it was at least 45 minutes minimum, 45 minutes to an hour, before they got the child out of there. The baby has died. Laia Collins, they won't say how he's a person of interest, but the only information that has been made aware is that him and her were from a previous relationship. So how long ago was previous? Her sister Tia Mills was on the doing an interview. Now y'all was close. Y'all was in the same region. Now I understand if y'all was in different countries, or maybe if she was in, around, if she was in New York or California, somewhere real busy. But for you all to be in the same town, you really had a close relationship, it wasn't strange or nothing like that, like you only meet up like 2-3 times or whatever like that. You had just talked to her the day before she got killed, and you don't know who her baby daddy is? Well, if you don't know, you don't have an idea. And he is from a previous relationship, so I'm sure his attorney was sitting there watching like, I really feel deep down inside that this may be one of those cases that never gets solved to eternity. Just for the fact of that being said on the interview, unless there is a video of this murder. That's the only way this is gonna get. I mean, a solid, real video, not a similar incident. And coincidentally, similar area, whatever, even if it's area that coincidentally look the same, somebody looks similar to her, is the only way that this is going to be like, okay, he had involvement in it, is if there's a video. Because the way this here is going, it doesn't sound right. It's like, okay, you and your sister are close. I saw the Facebook photos. They had enough contact with each other to know that, for you to be like, okay, you're pregnant, you have an idea, if you're close to somebody, sometimes you don't know, but you don't even have an idea to be like, oh, well, the person, as far as I know, they stay in the back of Lafayette, or they stay in the back of Opelousas. Like, you don't even have that information. So just with that, gonna be like, it's gonna make it, it's gonna be like, okay, what's automatic and the blue's gonna come up into a jury. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you get a speedy trial, if he's ever found as a suspect or whatever like that, he's going to be found about innocent unless, like I said, there's a video solid. I think this matter is going to be one of those cases that forensics will not be able to solve it unless there is an exact video of this here, because don't know who the daddy is. And then there once was a report saying that somebody actually used her car and stuff like that and opened fire on her. This is like, okay, how would you know? And then it comes to Laia Collins, with him being up for the draft, did he really need to actually use her car, or whomever played that trick on her? This is like I said, I don't think it's gonna get solved. If somebody it may be somebody that take the charge that may really just to say they solved the case. So I read that, to be careful. This is a matter to be careful in, because just so that this family could feel as though somebody that really ain't had nothing to do with it, ain't no DNA match, because I know Laia Collins, he didn't get chosen first or second, and he didn't get chosen third with this murder trial coming up, so it's delayed. Somebody innocent that really ain't, that might have just been her cashier at Sears, been her cashier at Target, said hey to her one time, is bound to be a possible person as a suspect, just so that they could hurry up and close this case here. And from this here matter, and most likely they took the blood from that baby to find out who that baby daddy is some kind of way, and gonna get DNA from Laia Collins. That's what's gonna definitely happen. Because if he gets there and say, well, I've been mainly focused on my football career, and we have not been active or anything for me to be reactionary to her in any kind of way to kill her, know who killed her, or anything like that, 2 years ago, or, something more is either not being released, that they have information of, that they're not letting anybody else know of. So unless they have information that we're not aware of and that's not being reported, this case is not going to be solved. Like I said, my thing is, if the only thing, okay, and the only thing else that may break that he's possible is if that DNA matched that baby. That's possible. Other than that, if that DNA don't match that baby, his DNA don't match that baby, and there's no video, this case, you're not going to be able to solve this here, because how the world, your sister that you close with, and you see the Facebook pictures, like they talk at least 3 times a day, it looks like it, for real. Yeah, Facebook can be deceiving, but they stayed in the same area, they really was close. And knowing her, one of them, she was an AKA, yeah, and she don't know what, you ain't got a piece of idea? Now, how many people in their family gonna really let them and they don't know who the baby daddy is? Ain't too many. Unless you really the blessed and highly favored one, like, seriously. The one that, it's so many people that people just be like, fuck who knowing it is. And which ain't gonna find out. And so, and then the reality is, okay, Laia Collins, let me talk to you. So, if it was possible and you know that you're up for a draft. I don't get some things. You're not stuck in school. You're not stuck in the neighborhood. Because my thing is, if you're going to school, sometimes you have no choice but to fight. Sometimes you may have no choice but to do what you got to do when needed to defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to get somebody before they get you because they didn't let you know they was going to get you. But you had opportunity to go to national football. That was that was beyond, like, you need to be having. I don't get why people don't think stuff serious. Now you're gonna have to settle for one of those, get on one of those AFL or international teams that pay you $50,000 a year due to this scandal here. Somebody that got so much stuff on there, got Baltimore uprising, Ferguson. They got all that on their mind, so you're at the back of the mix of it, and that's the only way you're gonna be able to get out between these NFL drafts. My thing is, if you wasn't picked 2 times, you know what I'm saying, it's making more than being at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're under another country, their taxes are different. And my thing is, say case scenario, hypothetically speaking, if this child is possibly yours, why would you get in any kind of rambunctious? And after that, whatever accusation drawn or whatever to call it, or the little Boosie situation, it's some people need to be really thinking extra if it's worth them getting any possible way into some drama. Thing was, okay, say it was possibly your baby. If this released in later time, the DNA matched to the baby, because I'm sure they're going to take this baby DNA with or without permission. I'm sure they are. You're applying for the NFL. There are options, the AFL, and it's enough for you to staying in Louisiana to pay $1,500 a month child support. Don't lay if you can't pay, and that's a problem, and that's really a problem. So next hypothetical situation, especially for him to be a person of interest, because one thing I'm going to have to speak from all hypothetical angles. Next hypothetical situation. Say you thought it was your baby, and then she came to you and said, well, look, it could be such and such. It could be 5 other guys. It could be 10 other guys. Now, and even in 3 months, Okay, so my thing is, you trying to go for the NFL. You're going to have plenty of women that you can be available to you. That's not the end of the world. You're trying to go further than being in Baton Rouge, okay? So, seriously, don't ruin yourself getting caught up with an unnecessary scandal. It ain't, unless it's something with self-defense, or you really, they really went after you and you just out the blue got attacked by the cops or the Ku Klux Klan. Some situations be like, So next hypothetical speaking is, I would be mad as hell you would choose if that would been my son, okay? Been any of my sons, okay? My sons, my nephews, godchildren. I just would be like, how are they don't know who the daddy is, don't have an idea who the daddy is, and her sister that stay in the same area, vicinity, and they communicate very often. It's not like they communicate 3 times a year. She stays out in the boom booms, and you don't have an idea who the baby is for. Why you chose my son? I see, you chose my son. Why don't you have some other people as person of interest? Or did you choose this person because maybe, what I'm saying? I just would be thinking. And so then it'd be like, okay, son, nephew, godchild, you need to take life serious. Do your best to stay out of unnecessary trouble. Matter of fact, if you want to get in some, you want to get up in something that I could really fend for you about, you better go out there to those people in Ferguson, New York, Philadelphia. I need you up in some real shit. You can't be causing no drama about, don't want to pay some child support, or somebody may have lied to you about, a baby yours. Move the fuck on. Get over with. You know what I'm saying? then I have to hypothetically speak that if I was Brittany Mills' parents in the Baton Rouge area, my thing would be, girl, how you got yourself caught up in this situation here? And it'd be like, I would be saddened, and I'd be like, I would have to come up with more than one name, for real. I really before I even bring one name, and especially if we don't know who the baby daddy is, I'm not coming with no one person as a person of interest, when even if they really, really may be, or even if it could be somebody else. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole pool. And I'm telling you, this is going to end up real ugly, and it's going to be at least, I'm telling you, this is going to be at least 100 suspects. And I don't get what the point is when somebody died. People are always saying, oh, they didn't have no enemies. Well, you have a Laia Collins as a person of interest. What you mean she had no enemies? Everybody have enemies of some kind. Somebody gonna get mad because you ain't let them ride in your car because you got more than them, because you dress better than. Everybody got enemies, even if your enemy's solid. Ain't no such thing as everybody like you. That's when I be like, oh gosh, y'all living up in a cloud world. And I mean, just that interview that sister did was like, it's somebody, the only way, if they're really like, okay, we don't want the family hounding us and we just want to solve it, it's going to be the wrong person incarcerated. In 20, 30 years from now, we're going to hear about that person that has to be released, or journal articles across the world. This is how this matter can go. So I'm telling you, people that are exactly up in Louisiana, if you look like you may have even spoken to her or whatever like that. If you look like you may have known her, even if you knew her best friend, or even if you knew, even if you, I don't know, you might have had a minor disagreement that really ain't worth, what I'm saying, you got enough sense not to kill nobody over it. I just want to tell you, you better be staying covered up with the R, and definitely watch what you say. Because you may get caught up into something that's not even relative of you, you end up taking a bait that you don't even mean to take, and it's involuntary. So, this matter here is like, wow. It ain't even wow, it's how. I don't even say wow, because, I'm not going to wonder on it, okay? I'm not going to wonder on it. Whatever updates come on it, whenever I think about it, that's what it is. But this is how. That's what I'm going to call this how. This is, whoa. TTYL. Let me know your thoughts of it and so forth.